Okay, good night. So this will be a microscopic examination of 3 slides. We have not done a microscopic examination for quite a while, and hopefully the microscope is not too dirty because it just stood, covered with nylon, but maybe the lens is gonna be dirty. Good news is that I found in the storage the 2 other eye lenses that we can use. Which might be helpful. I didn't use it until now in any of the microscope examination that I've had in this channel because it was always in the Holon storage. This one is number 616 if I remember correctly. 16, yes. And we have another one of 10 and 5, which will give us lesser magnification, but sometimes it's actually needed. Of course, you should multiply it with objective lenses that we have of 40, 10 and 4 if I remember correctly. So we'll have 3 slides. One is taken from this kind of mixed pot that was mostly cooked over several iterations on the stove, electric stove, and 2 from this container. This is actually interesting. This was burned on the bonfire over 2 nights, if you remember, maybe 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago in Rishon and Jaffa. After the first night, I've received a very nice mixture, oily, but not too burned. And I think I should have stopped then, but I did not. I was greedy and I cooked it for another night in an even larger bonfire in Rishon. And then it just, at some point, there was a huge. It was covered with kind of metal, cover that only with little chimney, but I cut it up to be able to get the material out. And there was a huge steam. At several point there was a change of phase and a huge steam, and most of the material just evaporated in 2 seconds. And what was left after it was cooled is incredibly hard material, almost impossible to actually get it out. So at some point I took it out, whatever is left, and little of what is left I place it here and mix it with oil, so it's a little bit more, I would say, suitable for microscopic examination. So what we're going to do, I prepared 2 slides. One from this mixture that is a little bit more liquidy with a little bit more of oil, and one just scraps of scratch, גירדתי עם סכין כמה שאפשר את פה, אני לא יודע אם רואים, זה מאוד מאוד קשה, זה כמו איזה נפט שחור. אני לא יודע אם נשאר שם משהו של הכל שרוף, but we're going to see, maybe it's all it's all done, maybe not. Anyway, I will at some point, I'll do a similar, kind of experiments with the cooking on bonfire, but now I just be careful not to overcook it, because if you overcook it, all the liquid is out together with probably most of the meal or most of the tea, and what you're left is something that is incredibly hard, like crude oil, but much more harder than that. If you burn it, it became little more, more liquidy. But still, it's very crude. So, but it's interesting because of the energy, that was placed in it, which is much higher than anything that I've ever done. Because when you use electrolysis or any other kind of little fire, it's nothing compared to a whole night. Not really whole night, but several good hours of a bonfire of, this is tremendously more energy that was placed in it. That's what's all interesting. But again, I was too greedy and I should have stopped after the first night. Hopefully we'll be able to see something. So let's start. I have not done pre-test, so I don't know what we're going to watch, what we're going to see. It's interesting. Let's just, hope it will be, of interest. We can start with the one from the oldest thing, both with the Epson Y and the methylene blue. We can start with the one that was taken from here, from that one, from the more liquid, from the bonfire material, what they call ברקחת של בני הדייג, but with a little bit more oil that is kind of placed might be it's a little bit more suitable for microscopic examination because we see a little bit more liquid in it. It's just the texture was just, it's more, I would say, suitable for such examination than, just hard, material that you need to scrape and just place on them, smear it on the slide. Although, it became a little more liquid with the introduction of eosin, like the color, the stains, the eosin Y and methylene blue. Again, hopefully the microscope is still, intact after several weeks without usage. But I mean, let's just hope all is well with the microscope. So we're using 64 magnification, 60. I mean, the 40 objective lens. No, I mean the 4 objective lens and the 16 eye lens. Well, though, I have the tube lens, but I almost never use it because it's not suitable for, it doesn't do well with the handheld iPhone setup. We do see small neos, definitely. Nice ones. Maybe 64 is just too much. Maybe we need to switch to 160 with the hope of better result, because they're a little bit too smaller for, yes. So now we do see the neos much better. It's difficult to focus because, I mean, this requires a little bit of calibration. Unfortunately, you see that there is what I call, the clitoris of the microscope. Pardon my French, I need to kind of like a little bit, just a second. Maybe now it's going to be a little bit more better, Yes, actually, yes. Seems better to, better calibrated. Not huge neos, but certainly quite a bit of like a medium-sized and fat ones, actually. Nice neos. We see fat ones. I'm not sure why, but I mean, when I say fat, I mean that the hole in the inside is not like it's not like the radius. I mean, the internal radius is small, like compared to the external radius. Nice. So I actually see quite a bit. I mean, it's not like disappointment. It should be said that, I mean, there was a huge amount of that stuff, like, tremendous amount. And most of it was just burned or lost for all sorts of reasons. But considering the fact that, I mean, so much, I mean, material was actually produced, like the amount of news that we see is not something, is actually satisfactory. We don't see monsters here. I mean, I always search for monsters, but they are not tiny, and we also see, I mean, many tinier ones that will try to kind of like maybe catch the tinier one using higher magnification. Beautiful, actually. This is beautiful. This is also, yeah, I mean, it's not a disappointment. Like it's a very good slide, mixture, and we see certainly we see like some kind of like preferences towards the fatter ones, like. From the past, this happened when the mixer we had like hefty amount of sodium bicarbonate. It helped them become fatter, but we still don't know what's the effect of these things. Like it's a question. Like I mean, what's the difference between the feather and the, and the non-fat? Like, the big, obviously they wrapped in a huge range of sizes, like, like the total radius, but with regards to, to the proportion between the inner radius and the outer radius, I don't have very nice neros actually. Actually, it's a nice slide, like I would say. This is 160 magnification. Very nice slide. So I don't have still an answer to the question of why are there what's the difference in function between the smaller the feather and the thinner. It's a question, of course. An obvious kind of presumably drawback of the feather is that they have less ability to transfer of mass, presumably because the hole is smaller. But of course they do not only transfer mass, they also transfer energy and information. So it's only part of the issue, part of the function. So it's a question, and they wouldn't have done that. Like they wouldn't have eaten, the sodium bicarbonate or any other things that is there and became fatter if it wasn't for a good reason. They're not just animals that eat the food because it's there. So it's a question. There is a question. By the way, you don't see many life forms. Which is kind of it makes sense considering that it was cooked for so long. So even the extremophils, they cannot survive so much heat for so long. When we see tremendous amount of neros, this is excellent. This is very nice, actually. Very, very nice. Maybe we should now try to so the maximum modification that I have with the objective lens is dirty, and I didn't have the opportunity to clean it, and I don't have alcohol for sanitation right now. So from experience we might not be able to use it very well, but we will try. So now it's 600 magnification or 700 magnification, 600 700 magnification. We can use even more, with the tube lens, but as I said, this doesn't fit well with with the setup of the and then the iPhone. It's better to do it, with other kind of setup. It's difficult to actually get good result with the 600. Not the greatest, this lens should be cleaned certainly. Also, we do see tremendous amount of neros, even in the smaller ones, less sizes. You see the also neros here, which is to be expected. When you see the bigger ones, mostly you always see the smaller ones, even though not always. This is what I call a healthy mixture, because there is a good proportion between the smaller ones and the bigger ones, which is healthy mixtures. I call it like that. Sometimes we get what I call non-healthy mixtures, which is mostly the prosperity towards the huge ones. It's kind of so the question is that a problem? Intuitively it is, but I'm not sure why. I do have kind of intuition as to why, because they need to perform all sorts of jobs, not just the bigger ones, but also the smaller ones. This is a very healthy mixture, because we see you definitely see tremendous amount of smaller ones, not just bigger ones. Let's get back to the 160. It was suitable for this slide. Nice, that's very nice. So yes, this is a very good mixture. I'm satisfied. We don't see monsters here. Again, if you want to create monsters, this is affected by the language. We see big ones, but not really monstrous ones. But we see really big ones, and with tremendous amount. It should be said again that if you want to emphasize on size, I should have created more magnification arc, and I did not. When I use the symbolic aspects. Maybe next time that I'll do the same kind of bonfire experiment, I will actually do it in two steps. Just over one night, not to burn it. But the first iteration will be the normal one with the symbolic language as usual, and the second will be I'll emphasize the magnification arc in order to try to utilize this extra energy that you get from the bonfire in order to create very big ones. So we'll have both, the bigger, the regular ones, the smaller ones. This is a very nice one, actually. Very, very nice one. And also maybe we can create some monsters, just, for curiosity. Not bad at all. I'm totally satisfied with what I see here. And again, it should be said, it was taken so you understand, this was taken from, it wasn't full to the brim, of course. It was just, maybe one 1/10 of it was actually filled, because most of the material was just burned and, or evaporated. But even 1/10 of this can is a hefty amount of material, actually, especially considering that it was like diluted with oil in order to make it like more suitable for all sorts of usages. So it's actually, it's like, and so it's still it's enormous amount, and of course only tiny bit was used for the microscopic slides, as it always with microscopic examinations. So it should be said that these are very good results. We don't see things that are out of the ordinary, but we see tremendous amount of neurons for all sorts of sizes that maybe are not out of the ordinary, but certainly great both variety and size. So let's take a look now at the other one that was taken directly from not from the one that was kind of like diluted with oil, but I took it directly from like with a knife from the hardened material. Hopefully, you see that it's like a hard material. You see it's like beeswax. That's because it's so hard. It's much harder than beeswax, actually, like the hardened beeswax. But I managed to smear it with a knife. So let's see if we can get any interesting results. Start with 64 magnification. We'll see how it goes. These kind of lines are created by the knife. It's typical when you use like a knife to smear something like on the slide, you get this kind of parallel lines. So it looks like burned land. Not much can be deduced. No, now we see a little bit more. You see also glimpses of in the dark, that probably are neros, that are showing some spots of light, but not interesting. The problem is that it's just too hardened material. Again, the difference between the previous mixer and that one is not that is the fact that is the usage of oil, although the fact that it was cooked for a little bit in order to make it softer. So it's impossible that this mixture, in this can contains more neros in average than what you have here, because this is made from this one. But the fact that I've added oil and make it a little bit more liquid by a little bit of heating, and made it like more suitable for microscopic examination. There is an issue of visibility here. It's very difficult to get to see something when the material is so hard. But we do see neros. We do see that it's there. Let's switch to 160. Neros are definitely there. Just that it's difficult to watch it because of the consistency of the material, but it's definitely there. Definitely there. There's a little bit difficult to examine the stuff because of this consistency issues. Also difficult to focus. Okay, again, this would have been solved if I would stop the cooking after one night, because it was much more liquid and much more soft, and not just that tremendous amount of material exists after the first night, because it was before this kind of evaporation, but also it was much more soft and ready for microscopic examination. We see the neros hiding in the hardened material, but it's just difficult to isolate it and to watch it. But they are there. Difficult to watch it. But we see them. We see the all sort of spots of lights from the darkness with the rings. Okay, this is pretty much as expected, taking into account the visibility problem. So I'm satisfied with that. Now let's take a look at something different. Mixer that was cooked on the pot over like the infra stove, like the infrared stove. Start with 64 magnification, see how it goes. Definitely we see Neos, like, I mean, not huge ones. We don't see monsters, but we see, like, I would say small to medium ones. Of course, when I say small to medium, I mean, by my own scale. All these Neos are huge by your scale, whoever you are, humans or titans. Your Neos in your body are not that large. I mean, they are much smaller on average. But so these are monsters anyway compared to what you have. But compared to what we've seen in this channel, we don't see like very big ones here. We see normal sized ones, and not as many as we've seen like in the one from this from the bonfire, which is to be expected because of the energy expenditure involved. But we see some heroes from this is 160 magnification, so we see much less than we've seen like in the others. This is a beautiful one actually. Wow, so beautiful. You see you see the typical white ring that is the kind of like the middle of the black ring. It's so nice, very nice and big and excellent shape. This is even nicer one. Wow, very nice one, very healthy and nice one. Also with the Stargate position, which is interesting. And this is a huge one actually. So this is a monster. So I think that if you want like the very big ones, like using the bonfire mechanism, so like the last hour or so of the burn should be dedicated like to use the magnification, like symbols, like what you call the magnification arc that was not used. And maybe I'll next time I'll do like this bonfire trip like in on the beach or any other place that it's allowed to do so. I'll probably remember to use the magnification arc in all sorts of like ways, so we can kind of like tell the Neos that we want them to emphasize on size. So maybe we'll be able to see all sorts of bigger ones. Here we see we don't see as many Neos that we've seen like in the other slide, but we definitely see bigger ones. I mean, and this is indicative because while I'm working on this mixture here in my home, I did use the magnification arc. I mean, combined with the the electric stove setup. So it actually makes sense that we see all sorts of very big ones as you've seen now. This is 64 magnification, so these ones are actually pretty big, and quite a nice mixture. Not as dense as we've seen like on the bonfire, but it makes sense because of the energy expenditure involved. Nice, not bad at all. I would say successful. You see like one bacteria here, which is not a huge problem by itself. Pretty clean, I would say. Pretty clean, relatively, mixture. We don't, like, definitely, the emphasis was as intended on the neural creation and not on the creation of return bacteria or other microbes, synthetic microbes. That is something. Sometimes it's our goal, but not in this case. And we see that they actually, complied with the demand that to multiply and grow, and not to, occupy themselves with the creation of all sorts of like biological or semi-biological or biological in the extended way monsters. Very nice Nero. I really like this one actually. I really like this one. This is 64 magnification, so these one are pretty big. Like we actually there is like an emphasis. You see that here we have much more emphasis on size and less emphasis on fatness. Like we don't see them as fat as they were before, but we do get emphasis on size and not that much on quantity actually. I mean, the quantity is not as impressive as is the ones in the bonfire, but it's still great. Great slide. Again, taking into account that it was like just a little bit microscopic amount from this spot that still contained quite a bit of material. Like yes, it's not like to the brim, but it's still quite a bit. Like so we have quite a bit of that. Not bad at all. So, okay, so generally I'm satisfied with what we've seen. Not a huge surprise, not for the good and for the bad, but the good thing is that I was afraid that this, that after the burning of the second night, I've lost everything. That, I mean, everything was evaporated, and I only stayed with burnt stuff. But no, actually not. Actually, we see that. I mean, what was left, it's like very hard, like almost like it's almost solid hard, but it couldn't a tremendous amount of Neros. Again, I should say probably the second night was just, overkill, and I've lost most of the material, so I shouldn't have done that, but I'll learn from mistake. Next time I'm doing this bonfire, so of course, two kind of like lessons learned is not too much fire and not for too long, and only one night, not two nights, and always keep in mind that it's not to burn for too long, and also emphasize at least some of the time I should add the magnification arc to the symbology in order to try to create like monsters. But even though it should be said that this was a very healthy mixture, like more healthier than what we see here. Like this was, this is the result of too much actually, not a critical way, but this is relatively less healthy because we see too many big ones and with not enough smaller ones. Actually, the ones that was created here is very healthy. As I define it, in the way that we've seen all the ranges. It still should be like rigorously explained why I call it healthy, because there are many questions that should be answered, like with regards to what is it you want from mixture. But just intuitively, when you take it from the body, vanilla mixture, as I take it from my semen or my pee, you see that, generally you see all the many kind of you see huge range. So that's what I call it healthy, because that's the way it is in my body, like in the vanilla sense, vanilla not in the it tastes like vanilla. I don't know how it tastes, but vanilla because it's kind of not it's straight from the source without kind of candies and בלי דובוני גומי ושוקולדים וכל הדברים מציות, אני יודע, וכל אוריו וחלבה וכל מקופלת ששמים בפרוזן אז זה לא, זה רק הפרוזן הרגיל, כן, ישר מהגוף, אבל, but and these are not vanilla mixture, these are cooked mixture, so, and sometimes it happens that, with the cooked mixture, you get you skew the results towards smaller ones or bigger ones. Here we see kind of skewed towards the bigger ones, but this is actually very healthy mixture. In the fact that we've seen a huge range and also a huge amount, which is very, very healthy. One thing that I'm kind of lacking again is the monsters, but for that we need to remember to use the magnification arc, and that's what we'll do next time. I have the opportunity to do a bonfire cooking or under the sky during the night. So that will be all, and thank you very much.